In the red-earthed Ikotun Village, where the wind carried gossip faster than it carried dust, there lived a girl named Zainabu. Zainabu was known for two things: her beauty and her silence. But what the village did not know was that her silence was not obedience. It was survival. One evening, as the sun melted into the horizon and women returned from the stream with clay pots balanced on their heads, Zainabu's father called for a family meeting. His voice was unusually firm. Her mother avoided her eyes. Her younger brothers were sent outside. Then he said it: "You are to be married." The words landed like a stone thrown into still water. Zainabu blinked. Married? To who? She asked softly. To Al-Haji Musa, her father replied. The air left her lungs. Al-Haji Musa was the wealthiest trader in Ikotun Village and beyond. He was also older than her father. What Zainabu didn't know was this. Months earlier, during a poor harvest season, her father had borrowed money from Al-Haji Musa. When he couldn't repay it, Musa offered a solution. "Give me your daughter," he said, "and your debt will disappear." Her father had agreed. Without asking her, without telling her, her future had been exchanged like market goods in Ikotun Market Square. That night, Zainabu found her mother grinding pepper long after everyone slept. "Is it true?" she whispered. Her mother's hands trembled. "I had no voice," she said quietly. "In this house, decisions are not mine." Zainabu's chest tightened. The women before her in Ikotun Village had also been promised, also traded, also silent. But there was something else. Zainabu was in love. Not loudly, not recklessly, but quietly. There was a young school teacher in Ikotun Village named Idris. He spoke gently. He believed girls should learn. He once told her, "Your mind is too bright to be locked away." They never touched, never declared anything. Now her heart felt like it was being buried alive. The engagement ceremony was announced quickly. Drums filled the compound. Women sang marriage songs that echoed through Ikotun Village. Neighbors congratulated her father for raising a good daughter. Zainabu sat in the center of the celebration like a decorated statue. Gold beads around her neck, henna on her hands, tears hidden behind lowered lashes. People said she was lucky. No one asked if she was happy. 3 nights before the wedding, Idris came to her window. "You don't have to do this," he whispered urgently. She shook her head. "It is already decided." "By who?" he asked. She had no answer. That night, she did not sleep. She realized something terrifying. She had been taught obedience so deeply that she didn't know how to resist. The next morning, she walked alone to the river at the edge of Ikotun Village. The water reflected her bridal beads. She stared at her own reflection. "Who are you?" she whispered. For the first time in her life, anger rose instead of fear. Why was her life negotiable? Why was her consent unnecessary? Why was her future collateral? The river did not answer, but something inside her did. The wedding day arrived. The entire Ikotun Village gathered. Al-Haji Musa sat proudly, wrapped in expensive agbada, smiling like a man who had won a prize. Zainabu was escorted forward. Her father beamed. The imam began the formal marriage question. "Do you accept?" And then, silence. Zainabu did not respond. The crowd shifted. The imam repeated the question. Her father's smile tightened. "Speak," he hissed under his breath. But this time, Zainabu's silence was different. It was not fear, it was defiance. She lifted her head. For the first time, she looked directly at Al-Haji Musa, then at her father, then at the crowd of Ikotun Village. And she said clearly, "No." The word echoed louder than any drum. Gasps exploded across the compound. Her father stood abruptly. "Have you lost your mind?" But she continued, "My life is not debt payment. My future is not for sale. If marriage is a blessing, then let it be chosen." The imam lowered his book. Even the wind seemed to pause over Ikotun Village. Chaos followed. Some villagers called her disrespectful. Others whispered admiration. Her father's pride shattered publicly. Al-Haji Musa's face darkened with humiliation. But something unexpected happened. An elder woman stepped forward. She spoke slowly. "For generations, our daughters have obeyed without being heard." She turned to Zainabu. "Today, one has spoken." One by one, murmurs of agreement rose through Ikotun Village. The power of the crowd shifted. Her father realized something. Forcing her now would stain his honor more than releasing her. The marriage was canceled. The debt, it remained. Her father was furious for weeks. But Ikotun Village began to change. Families started asking their daughters questions. Not all listened, but the conversation had begun. Idris approached her carefully days later. "You were brave," he said. She smiled softly. "No," she replied. "I was tired." Years passed. Zainabu became a teacher in Ikotun Village. Girls from neighboring communities came to learn from her. And whenever a father tried to withdraw his daughter from school for early marriage, Zainabu would visit personally, not with anger, but with stories, because she had learned something powerful. Sometimes rebellion does not destroy tradition, it reshapes it. And in Ikotun Village, whenever wedding drums begin to play, people still remember the day a bride said no, and the sky did not fall. And in Ikotun Village, whenever wedding drums begin to play, people still remember the day a bride said no, and the sky did not fall.